Hi, my name is Sean McCone. I'm the Assistant Director here at St. Louis University in St. Louis, Missouri. Today we're going to be talking about Financial Aid 101. So what's kind of going on today is we're going to talk about what is financial aid, when and how do I apply, what's the expected family contribution, and then what's an award letter, and kind of what the financial aid timeline is as far as when you're expected to receive information. To kind of start off with, on the screen we have the four basic types of financial aid. So you have your scholarships, your grants, your loans, and your employment opportunity. So what we're going to do throughout this presentation is kind of dive a little bit deeper and kind of go into more specifics about each one of these. So kind of to start off with, let's go over the basics. So how do I apply? To begin with, the first step is the FAFSA. The FAFSA is a free application for federal student aid. What this does is this calculates the student's expected family contribution. A common time when you're talking with people is what is, and a lot of times they'll throw out the term EFC, and what EFC is expected family contribution. That's the number from the FAFSA. Some schools require what they call the CSS profile. This is required by a few colleges and universities. It requires a little bit of additional information. This does cost money, but at St. Louis University, we only require the FAFSA. So if you're applying to other schools, definitely check with them to see if they take the CSS profile, but we do not take it. So where do I go? Especially this time of year is when you actually should go out there and file the FAFSA. The website's FAFSA.gov. The 2015-16 FAFSA became available on January 1st. Every year that your student's in college, you need to make sure that they do the FAFSA. A lot of schools will take that information, have priority deadlines. So our priority deadline is March 1st. So what that means is we take a look at everyone who's filled out the FAFSA before March 1st and make sure that they have the most financial aid possible. So what this means is there's some financial aid that comes as what's called first come, first served basis. So what we make sure is check with the deadline. Like I said, here at SLU, the deadline's March 1st. So you want to make sure that you submit your FAFSA before your school's priority deadline. And you must submit your FAFSA every single year. And if you have more than one student attending college, or if your parents attend college, then everybody in the household will need to have their own FAFSA completed. So kind of in the January, the mid-January, so what's the steps that you need to do now? So if you're a senior in high school, the thing that you need to do is go ahead and get your PIN filled out. And we'll go into a little bit more details. If you're a junior, junior or even sophomore or freshman, what you can do now is do what they call the FAFSA on the web worksheet. And there's also what they call the FAFSA you can also forecast your expected family contribution. So that way it kind of gives you an idea of where you're kind of going and kind of what type of expected family contribution you might qualify for. So in order for your PIN to get registered, what you have to do is go to the website listed on the screen. It's www.pin.ed.gov. So you need to get this PIN number before you file your FAFSA. Both the students and the parents will need PINs, and they will be different. So if your parents already have a PIN from when they attended school, you need to make sure that they go ahead and use the same PIN number. If you do not remember the PIN number from your parents or yourself, there's a spot on pin.ed.gov we can actually request a duplicate PIN. So what that means, they'll go ahead and email it to you, actually display the PIN number on the screen. The federal government is actually changing this process, and what they're going to is more of a password process. But right now, this is the process that you need to do as far as going ahead and applying for the PIN. So on the screen now is a couple of basically practice tools. So the one is what they call a FAFSA on the web worksheet. So what this worksheet is basically a 4-page document that kind of goes over the details of what's going to be included on the FAFSA. And then the other item is the FAFSA forecaster. So if you're not a if you're junior or below in high school, what we can do is you actually go to FAFSA for the number 4 and then CASTA.gov. And what you can do is you can actually get a copy of basically an estimate of a ballpark number of your expected family contribution. So this kind of gives you an idea of where you're coming from and then what that number will be. Both of these are good tools to kind of practice and get some information down, especially if you're, freshman, sophomore, junior in high school. If you're a senior, basically the best thing to kind of do at this point in time is just go ahead and do the FAFSA. So now we're going to kind of go into and kind of talk about how the expected family contribution is calculated. So what the federal government does is they have a formula that they use, which was created by the federal government. So it's not created by the institution, it's created by Congress. So what they do is they have a formula that they develop that creates a number. This number is the same for every single school that you have on the FAFSA. So it doesn't matter if you apply at St. Louis University, and in a community college, in a public 4-year college or university, that number is going to be the same for every single institution. Basically what they do is they take a look at your parents' income and assets, as well as some sort of provisions and exceptions for family and cost of living. So they kind of take a look at all that information and then come up with a number. The lowest that number can go is 0, and they've actually changed it to go to 999,999. So this kind of goes a little bit more detail about how the expected family contribution is figured. So what they, or how it's used, I guess is a better way to say it. So what they do is, in this example on this screen, what you do is you have school 1, 2, and 3. So for this example, say school 1 is St. Louis University, school 2 is a public 4-year institution, and school 3 is a community college. So you can kind of see that of these, they all have a variable as in costs. So the costs vary depending on what institution you go to. In the middle, you see expected family contribution, which is the same. It's a consistent or static. So then what they do is they take the cost of attendance for each of these institutions, and then they subtract the expected family contribution. So then you get on the right-hand side where you see the need or the variable. So then you have X, Y, and Z. So you can kind of see in school 1 becomes, after, on the right-hand side becomes X. So what X is basically the variable or the need. So your need for attending St. Louis University is going to be greater than if you attended a public institution, public 4-year institution, or a community college. So what this means is sometimes the institution, like St. Louis University, is able to offer possibly additional resources to help bridge that gap. So it's definitely, definitely a good thing to send your FAFSA to St. Louis University for us to kind of take a look at and see if we can offer you any additional sort of financial aid. So after you file the FAFSA, what happens is the institution receives your FAFSA, and then what happens is after that, as long as you've been admitted, then what happens is they send you what they call an award letter. The award letter is basically kind of a summary of everything that you qualified for. So up top, it's going to have some information as far as your name, address, and then what's going to have, it's going to have a list of all the scholarships, grants, loans, work opportunities that you're going to qualify for. At St. Louis University, what we do is we send that out in March. So as long as you've listed St. Louis University on the FAFSA and you've been admitted into the university, then we're going to go ahead and send that out to you. And like I said, up at top, it's going to have all the sort of financial aid that you're going to qualify for. And then down below, what we do on our award letters, we kind of have a breakdown of our costs. And then at the bottom, what we're going to do, what we have is what we a remaining balance. So it kind of gives you an idea of what the bottom line is to attend the university. So now that we've kind of talked a little bit about the FAFSA, let's kind of go into the different scholarship opportunities that we have at the university. So what we do is, based on your application into the university, you're qualifying for merit-based scholarship opportunities. So once you apply to the institution and you've been admitted, if you qualify for a scholarship, you're going to receive notification from your admissions counselor letting you know if you qualify and what scholarship that you qualify for. At the university, we have scholarships that range anywhere from $3,000 to $16,000 based on ACT, SAT, and GPA. We also have what we call a presidential scholarship, which is our full ride scholarship, full tuition scholarship, and that deadline was December 1st. But if you're viewing this as a junior or sophomore, just keep that date in mind. And double check with your admissions counselor about the qualifications for that. One scholarship that we do have coming up is what we call the Martin Luther King Scholarship, and this is a stackable award, and this is still, the deadline is coming up. It's February 1st, but you still have time to apply for that. There's additional documents that are required, such as the essay and other items. But definitely check with your admissions counselor to see the steps for that scholarship. So kind of another thing to kind of keep in mind, this is kind of one of my favorite slides on this presentation, because what it is it's the private scholarship. So you're going to receive information in regards to the scholarships and award information that our institution offers. But these are links that you can kind of go ahead and go out there and apply for yourself. Working in the financial aid office, we do hear a lot back from students who do have private scholarships. So a lot of these might just be $500 to $1,000, but that money does add up. It does take the time and effort that you put into these scholarship links and essays and applications does pay off. So I would definitely take a look at these. There's some local ones, including St. Louis Graduates and the Scholarship Foundation of St. Louis. So those are for the students who are local, but there's definitely some for nationwide too as well. So definitely check out those links. So now we're getting more into talking about the other different types of financial aid. Federal aid, there's two additional types of grants. There's two grants that are listed on the screen. One is a Pell Grant. So what the Pell Grant is the Pell Grant is a grant that you can qualify for based on your expected family contribution. So what they do is they take a look at that number, the expected family contribution number based on the FAFSA, and they determine if you're going to qualify for the Pell Grant. The Pell Grant funding for next year has not been set. For the current academic year, Pell funding goes up to a little over $5,700. So it is additional aid that could help you out with your cost. Another type of federal grant is what they call Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant. A lot of schools will call it SCOG, some call it FSCOG, but basically what that is, it's an additional type of grant that institutions are able to offer to students to help them afford to come to the institution. This is based on funding levels from the federal government. So going back to the couple slides ago, so you might receive notification from one school that you're able to qualify for the SCOG award, but another school you might not be able to, because it definitely depends on funding levels from one school to another. The last item listed on here is federal work study. So at St. Louis University, we have a federal work study program, and a lot of schools have work study programs, but I can kind of go into how we do it here at SLU. So what we do here at St. Louis University is we give students the opportunity to work on campus. So if you're able to qualify for federal work study, what we do is we'll have it on your financial aid award letter, and then what you have to do is you actually have to go out there and apply for a work study. So what that means is you actually have to go out there and find a job on campus. So there's a lot of jobs listed on our website, careers.slu.edu. You get more information later on, and we tell students to start applying over the summer. And then what it is it's finding a job where you can actually work on campus, earn a little bit of money, work up to 15 hours. Some are on campus, some are off campus. Some are working in the offices, some are helping you work working at a recreation center on campus. There's a variety of different things. Even sometimes you have an opportunity to work off campus in nonprofit organizations. So it's definitely a great work experience. It's definitely a good resume booster. The one thing I do want to kind of stress is at St. Louis University, how we do is we never actually take that dollar amount off your final balance. What we do is it's a paycheck that the student earns. So the thought process is they can go ahead and use that money for living expenses or even save that money to go towards the final bill. But that amount of work study will actually never come off the bill. It's up to the student to find a job, to work it, and then use that money to help with the college expenses. So on to work study, a little bit more details. Like I said, it's an hourly position. It's not immediately applied. These are all things that the way we handle it at the institution. Both undergrad and graduate students. So if you're one of those students who want to continue on going on to graduate school, you definitely can qualify for it as well. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. It's a good resume booster. So it's kind of a good way to get your kind of foot started in a career. I know a lot of students coming from high school or college do not have real life work experience. That's something that a lot of employers are looking for. So it's something you can put on there that you've done while you're in school. So now this screen goes into detail about the different loan options that you could qualify for based on filling out the free application for federal student aid. On the screen, you see the 3 different types listed. So what is out there is on the left-hand side, you see the Perkins loan. So St. Louis University awards $2,000 in the Perkins loan, so up to for the incoming students. The way we handle Perkins is it is a need-based loan, so only a certain amount of students qualify for it. That's one of those financial aid awards that's first come, first served basis. So it's definitely very important that you go ahead and file the FAFSA early. If you have a low enough expected fee on the contribution, then what you do is you would possibly qualify for the Perkins loan. As you can see, the interest rate on that is 5%. It is a fixed 5%. And the difference between this and the other type of loans is it has a 9-month grace period. So you actually go into repayment 9 months after school instead of the other 2 listed on the screen have a 6-month grace period. The awarding limits vary from school to school. It's one of those ones that has a certain amount of funds from the federal government, so it definitely depends on the school. Like I said, we award students, new students up to $2,000. Returning students, they could qualify for more depending on funding levels. The other 2 types of loans are the direct subsidized loan and the direct unsubsidized loans. These are both offered through the federal government and based on the FAFSA. So new students could qualify for up to $3,500 in the subsidized loan. It is a need-based loan, so what that means is you have to have need to qualify for it. Again, if you qualify for this will be listed on your award letter. It does currently have a 4.66% interest rate. Does go into repayment 6 months after you graduate or after you drop below half-time status. Half-time status at St. Louis University is 6 hours. So most students just go into the 6 months after they get out of school. As you can see, the amount that you can borrow goes up, again, based on need. So if you're not able to qualify for subsidized loans, depending on need, what you qualify for is unsubsidized loans. So between the two programs, between the subsidized and unsubsidized loan programs, incoming students will qualify for $5,500. So the unsubsidized loan is not based on need. So that's where the whole expression that comes in, that no matter how much money your parents make or you make, you're going to qualify for financial aid. That comes into the fact that you're going to qualify for the unsubsidized loan. So it's not based on need. Again, this goes into repayment 6 months after school, or you drop below half-time status. So loan total amount they can go, it goes up based on your year in school. So first year you can qualify for $5,500. Second, your sophomore year you can qualify for $65,000, and then junior and senior year you qualify for $7,500. Those amounts listed are based on the year. I know some students think that's semester amounts, but those are actually year amounts. Okay, so after that, what's going to happen is you might have a remaining balance. So what that means is after all of your financial aid's applied, you've applied for private scholarships, you've received possibly institutional-based aid, you might have a balance remaining. So there's 3 ways to kind of basically tackle that remaining balance. What you can do is you can do a payment plan. So what we do at the institution at St. Louis University is we offer a semester-based repayment program as far as a semester-based payment plan program. So what that means is you have first semester you have August through December to pay it off, and this kind of more details later on. And then in the spring semester, you actually have January through May. So that's one option. The other 2 options listed on the screen are loans. The one is a Parent Plus loan, and the other one is a private loan. So we'll go into a little bit more detail in a second on those. So on this screen, you can kind of see the information in regards to the additional two loans that I referenced prior. So what you have is on the left-hand side, you have the Parent Plus loan. This is a loan that your parents can take. The current interest rate is 7.21%. With the Parent Plus loan and the subsidized unsubsidized loan, those interest rates are actually going to be fixed by the federal government in July, and that would be the amount that's listed. So you'll find out more information later on about the actual interest rate on that. As you can see, the Parent Plus loan, it has a fee associated with it. So if you are planning on borrowing the Parent Plus loan, make sure that you go ahead and factor in that fee. Your parents can go ahead and postpone those payments if they want to. So they can postpone until after you graduate. You can actually borrow money for living expenses too. So if you want to borrow money to not only cover the tuition costs, but if you want to go ahead and cover things like books or parking, extra things like that, you can go ahead and do that too as well. The Parent Plus loan is a credit-based loan, so they will run a credit check on that. It is run through the federal government. So to apply for that loan, your parents will need to go to studentloans.gov. We'll go into a little bit more detail later on as far as the timing of that. The other option to pay for it is private loans. They're called private or alternative loans. These are loans that are in the student's name. They do have variable interest rates, or some that actually have fixed interest rates, but they're actually depending on the lender. These are offered through banks, credit unions. These are not currently offered through the federal government. So it's definitely good to check with your bank or check with, on our website, we have a historical lender list, which is the list of lenders that we've used in the past 3 years. Some require payments right away. Others actually postpone payments until after you graduate. Again, this is an example where you can borrow money to up to the cost of attendance too, if you wish. Most of these private loans are going to require a cosigner. That's just because most high school students are going into college. do not have enough income history, or they do not have enough credit history. However, you have to check with the lender to be sure, but definitely check with them to find out. On the Parent Plus loan, if your parents apply for that and then are denied, then you qualify for an additional $4,000 in unsubsidized loans. Which your school receive notification, then that's added on later on. Here's a good slide that kind of goes over the things to kind of look out for. One of the biggest things that I probably should stress is on the FAFSA, it's a free application for federal student aid. So it's a free website. There are some websites out there that actually charge you to fill out the FAFSA, but the FAFSA is free. So definitely make sure that you go to FAFSA.gov. is a federal website. Some of the other ones will charge you upwards from anywhere from $19.99 to up to almost $100 to fill out the FAFSA. So if it's too good to be true, definitely check out some of these links. Definitely check with the Better Business Bureau to make sure it's a legitimate site, to make sure you're not getting scammed. Definitely as far as the scholarships go too as well. If you're finding out something that just doesn't sound like it's true, it's too good to be true, check out these websites. They'll help you out. The first one also is just studentaid.gov is a good website to reference in general. If you have any additional questions about financial aid, that's definitely a good website to check out too as well. So here's kind of the timeline for your senior year. So if you're a junior or last, this is kind of looking forward, and all these dates we changed to 15. But kind of where we're at right now is for those high school seniors, right now we're in the time for you to submit your FAFSA. So now's the time to go ahead and do it, and go ahead and complete this process. And then the next step after that is you're going to go ahead and receive your financial aid award letter from the schools you've been admitted to who are listed on the FAFSA. So on the FAFSA, you can list up to 10 schools. So if you list St. Louis University on your FAFSA and you haven't been admitted to our institution, then you receive your financial aid award letter in March. After that, the next step after that is make sure you submit your deposit and accept your financial aid by May 1. And then also after kind of May 1 to August, that's your time to kind of finalize your payment arrangements, attend any sort of orientations that our institution has. Here at St. Louis University, we have the freshman orientations called SIL 101. So that goes on in June and July. So make sure you finalize that, attend orientation, move in. So then you move in August. Also during May to August is your time to kind of research and decide how you're planning on paying for it. Definitely use that information on your award letter in March to kind of figure out different options to pay for it. Here's some kind of common questions that we have. Excuse me. The due dates are definitely hard and fast and meaningful, so definitely stay in contact with the institution. Definitely make sure you have proper contact information on file. Make sure that you check out all the different options that your institution offers. Find out how electronic your school is. So what I mean by that is, do they do things paper? Do they do things online? How does the process work? Most institutions have their own kind of way of going online to accept it. So nowadays what they do is a lot of schools will actually have you go online to confirm your financial aid award. So make sure that you go ahead and complete all of that. The final thing listed on here is the FERPA. I know it's kind of a confusing acronym, but basically what that is, that's a Privacy Act. So basically it's your rights as a student. So you have rights as a student. So what you want to do is you have to grant your parents access. So your parents have to be granted access to view your online account and view your information. So check with your institution, find out what kind of options they have. We have an online process called MyStuShare, so definitely check with them and find out what kind of options that if that school has, to make sure that your parents have the proper information. So if you do have any questions after this is over, here's our contact information. Feel free to reach out to us and answer any sort of questions that you might have. I know this is kind of, financial aid can be a confusing topic and very personal, so if you do feel like you want to reach out to me, our contact information's on there. My personal email is on there, so definitely feel free to reach out to me and then send me an email. That way we can kind of make sure that all of your questions are answered, to make sure that you have everything in place to make sure that the process goes smoothly. Well, thank you, and like I said, if you need anything else, just let me know.